Hello and welcome to Dice and Demons. I'm Emma and today I want to make a bit of a special video. Today is April 2nd and it is the World Autism Awareness Day. I would much prefer it if we called it the World Autism Acceptance or even Appreciation Day, but I think that is a discussion for another time. So I was diagnosed as autistic about 2 years ago and also as having ADHD. And it has been quite a long journey for me coming to accept that this is the way my brain works, and while it has limitations, it also comes with a set of strengths. And one of the tools that have helped me to get closer to acceptance of who I am is actually wargaming. And so in this video I thought I would share the 5 reasons why being an autistic wargamer is awesome. Number 1. There are so many ways that you can be a part of the Warhammer hobby and the Warhammer community. So if you are autistic, sometimes meeting people like physically in the real world can be really exhausting, it can be draining, it can be like anxiety provoking. So sometimes you just rather not or you're just not able to go out, really leave your house. But you can actually still be part of the wargaming hobby, and I think that is so awesome. I mean, you can just basically sit at home and paint your models and build your models, or read books about lore or whatever you want to do, and you're still participating in the hobby. If you feel like you want to be a little bit more involved in a community, you can also reach out online, and then you have a whole world of Warhammer hobbyists, and you can find them on all sorts of social media and you can all sorts of platforms, and I just think that's really cool. And then if you feel very adventurous and very daring and very brave, and you feel like you actually want to go out and see what actual physical people look like, you can also, go to a local club or a friendly local game store or something along those lines, and then you can stay there. You can play games, of course. You can also paint, you can build your models, and you can just like geek out in great company, which I think is awesome. But I think it's really cool that even if you have a day where you're just not able to leave your house, you are not isolated because you're still a part of this community and you can reach out online. I just really love that. Number 2, socializing is way easier when you are part of a hobby like this, because I think most of us know that Warhammer and other wargaming they're not the most popular things out there. I mean, it's not football or soccer or stuff like that. So when you go somewhere or engage with people online who are also passionate about this hobby, you know that you are really committed to it, and you know that you can just talk for hours about this small niche hobby, and no one will think you weird for spending half an hour debating whether or not you should highlight something with pink or just with white. Everyone will be like, yeah, it's really important, and let's have a real discussion about it. And you can be like really enthusiastic about, oh, look at this new awesome model that's coming out, and you can have a really, like, you can spend an entire afternoon looking over the contents of what will be out for the Cursed City box set or something, and no one will bat an eye. They'll just think that you are doing the hobby exactly the right way. And if you want to go to a like hobby evening or something at a store and you don't really feel much like talking, you can just sit there quietly painting your models and listen to what other people are saying, and you are still included and you're still a part of the hobby, and people will perhaps come up to you and just say, oh, it looks really cool what you're painting, or what kind of green is that, or are you making an entire army, or is it a kill team, or do you just like painting for the sake of painting? And people will be, at least that's my experience. I know that every community has its toxic people, but generally it's my experience that people will be like really friendly and just happy to see more people in the hobby. Number 3, for me at least, I have the experience that wargaming is a hobby where it is completely okay to be not neurotypical, so like being neurodivergent, being autistic, having ADHD, suffering from depression, anxiety, and all sorts of things. A lot of times I have the feeling that it's just a hobby where it's completely okay to be just the way you are. As long as you treat people with respect, you can be almost as weird as you want to be, and people will still accept you. I think it's the hobby that I have found, and I have been through a lot of hobbies because ADHD. So where people are most friendly and welcoming of people who are different. I know that there can be gatekeeping and stuff, but still, my experience is definitely that people will just be like, oh, okay, so he has social anxiety and today he's not really speaking. Fine, like, we'll just leave him alone. Or she can be a little bit blunt, but she means well. Fine, awesome. So it's like it's really like a place where you can let your guard down a little bit and be yourself, which I think makes it way easier to turn up to a social event. You're not expected to be like doing small talk about like, I don't know, housekeeping and child caring and cooking and stuff. I mean, I'm a woman, so that's what people expect me to be interested in, like small talking. If I do small talk at a Warhammer event, it'll be more like, oh, I'm really debating whether or not I should get a Slaves to Darkness army, but I don't know. I mean, I have so many projects already. That's the kind of small talk people do there, and that's the kind of small talk that I can definitely do as well. Number 4, wargaming is a very creative hobby, and I think that is something that is motivating for a lot of autistic people. I know that not every single autistic person is the same, very far from it. But I get the feeling that a lot of autistic people are creative and like to express themselves creatively in one way or another. And I think that wargaming has such a wide variety of ways to be creative. Like, you can be creative in the way you build your models, you can do kit bashing, you can do conversions, you can of course be creative in the way you paint your models, and you can also be creative with like painting illustrations, you can do fan fiction, you can do all sorts of things, you can build terrain, anything you want to do really, and you can still sort of fit it in under the wargaming umbrella, which I really, really like. And lastly, number 5, for me at least, wargaming has actually been a hobby that has motivated me to learn new skills and push my boundaries a bit in a good way. So when I started this hobby, if someone had asked me to sit in front of a camera and speak about my hobby and my painting and terrain projects, I would probably have been terrified. I would have hated it. I've always hated seeing myself on camera, and even just like an ordinary picture, I've hated it. But then I got involved in painting, and a lot of people asked me, so how did you paint this, and could you make a tutorial? And so I actually got up the courage and tried doing some of these tutorial videos. And while I'm still not completely at ease in front of a camera, it has been way easier. It also turned out that if you film something, you actually have to edit it afterwards, and I am lousy with technology. I hate technology. I just want it to work instantly, or otherwise I'll get really, really frustrated and just leave it. But if I want to make these videos, I really do need to edit them, so I have learned to do that slightly. I'm not very good at editing. I know, I'm sorry. This will never be a channel where you get the like best audio and the best lighting and the best editing, because that is simply not my interest, and I do not have the patience or the skills for it. But still, I have learned new stuff about both video editing, and I have learned stuff about actually sitting in front of camera and speaking and doing as well as I can. I have also, found the courage to go into the local gaming store and the gaming club and say, hello, I'm new, I'm Emma, I would actually like to participate in your community here, which has been a huge challenge for me. Going someplace new and meeting new people while I'm on my own is really difficult for me, and it took me months to get the courage to actually go, and I am so happy I did. I have made a lot of new friends, and it has been an overall awesome experience. But it was difficult for me at first, and I'm not saying that I have learned the skill of just going up to new people and being completely at ease, but I have definitely learned that sometimes it pays off to be to challenge yourself a little bit. Not always, and you should definitely not just push your boundaries for the sake of pushing them at all costs. But sometimes, I mean, you can actually do new stuff. And it has been the sole reason I've done that has been because I was motivated by the Warhammer hobby, because if it has not been related to the hobby, I would definitely never ever have given it a shot. So these are the 5 things that I think make wargaming such a cool hobby for me as an autistic person. So I know this was also a bit of a different video, as I said in the beginning, but I would very much like to hear your thoughts on it. Both if you are autistic or non-autistic, or if you know people who are autistic and participate in the hobby, what do you think? Also, if you have any ideas of any ways we could make the hobby even more accessible to all sorts of different types of people, not just autistic people or people with ADHD, but people with social anxiety or all sorts of other issues, I would also be more than happy to hear about it. I think it's important that we talk about these topics, because while there has been way more attention and awareness and acceptance of mental health issues over the last decades, it is still something that carries a bit of a social stigma and that people can find really difficult to talk about, me included. This has been something I had to work my courage up to do. It's not something that I could just easily sit down and do, but I decided that I thought it was important, and so I would give it a go. So I hope you liked this video, and as I said, any sort of comments you have, leave them down below. I would be more than happy to have a discussion with you guys about these issues. So thank you so much for watching this one, and I will see you next time. Bye!